What's going on, everybody? AQDevi here, and this is your quick and easy guide to completing the Rex Infernus Easter egg. I'll leave timestamps on screen now in case you're looking for a specific part, but if at any point you find yourself enjoying this video, a like, comment, subscribe are always appreciated. But without further ado, let's get into it. First things first, your main goal is to get enough points to get out of the safe house and onto the main map. I personally like to save up enough points to get quick revive just because it could be a while before you see it again in case you lose it, but that is completely up to you. Once on the main map, you're going to want to go up to the Nexus Forge and place the World Seed. 2 red skulls will spawn, and your goal is to constantly shoot at them and follow them, and making sure to pick up the red essence along the way. Once you destroy one of the skulls, a fireplace will spawn, and you'll want to bring that fire back to the Nexus Forge. Go ahead and do the same thing to the second skull, bring the fire back, crank those 2 levers, and Pack-a-Punch is now available to you. First thing you're going to want to do after activating Pack-a-Punch is go into Dravakar's temple and go to the stone pillar and turn around, and you will see a riddle on the wall. This phrase will be different from game to game, and what you need to do is activate 3 different levers in a specific order to bring down the pedestal. Thankfully for you, depending on whatever phrase you have, I should have a solve on screen for you that tells you the exact order in which to activate the levers. Once you've activated those in that order, you will go ahead and activate the lever on the pedestal and it will lower for you. We'll leave that there for now, but go ahead and exit from the way you came in, but make a quick left and go ahead and get PhD for the next step. Once you have PhD, you're going to want to go back towards the entrance of the Dravakar temple and grapple up and use PhD on this wall you see here to get the fracture of Nyxara. Once you have the fracture, head to spawn and you will see these purple orbs floating just outside of Pack-a-Punch. What you want to do is activate the grapple hook ability and pull 2 of those orbs close enough to Pack-a-Punch to where they start circling the machine. Once you do, go ahead and crank the lever, which will turn the 2 fires just outside of Pack-a-Punch purple. Once you do that, go ahead and activate one of the purple fires and make your way all the way down through Nyxara's temple until you see the eye and shoot just above it to activate it. With the eye activated, it will shoot lasers into one of the crystals, which will then bounce around. It's basically a reflection step. Essentially, if the final crystal that is receiving a laser is not shooting a laser at another crystal, go ahead and use your grapple hook to rotate it until it is. At some point, you'll hit a roadblock where one of the crystals just isn't there, and you'll want to grapple near it and hold square to place that fracture where the crystal should be. Once you do that, continue the laser reflection step until you get to this crystal, which you'll rotate until the laser hits this wall. Go ahead and go through the wall, activate here, and you will fall through the floor, and then you will continue to traverse through until you find these vines. This is basically a lockdown step that will over time also siphon health from you. Once the process is complete, you'll go ahead and hold the activate button on the vines. This will teleport you to the astral plane where you'll have to find 3 pieces of the wonder weapon. First one is going to be just on the left where you'll have to melee the floorboards. Once the warden's done talking, you can go ahead and pick up piece 1, then walk over to this charred body sitting next to the rock and interact with it. Once the warden's done talking, you can pick up piece 2, and then make your way over here to the cave and hold interact with the charred body here. Once the warden's done talking, you can go ahead and pick up piece 3 and make your way in this direction to escape. Once you're back on the map with all 3 pieces, make your way back to Dravakar's temple. You're going to want to use a grapple hook to get up into the secret area that we unlocked at the beginning. Hold interact on this anvil, and in a few seconds you will receive the Warden's Blight wonder weapon. After receiving the wonder weapon, your next step is to upgrade your grapple hook. Now, the process to upgrading the grappling hook does take a few rounds, and you are able to do some of the steps I'll mention in a bit during this process, but I want to explain to you how the entire thing looks so you can keep it in the back of your head while you're doing all these other things. The first step is to aim your weapon at this very precise spot. I'll try to zoom in as much as I can, but it is a very small basketball that you'll be shooting down from the house. Now, as you pass the rounds, you will see 4 blue symbols start to spawn on the house, and as you're flipping these rounds, your goal is to keep track of the order that the blue symbols spawn in. Thankfully, there's only 4, so there's not a lot to remember, and personally, I like to dub these M, W, R, and U, but for those of you more musically inclined, you can call them whatever you want. Now, once these 4 symbols have all spawned in, you're going to want to wait until a round that you are able to exfil, and then go ahead and shoot those 4 symbols in the order that they spawned in. You'll then want to very quickly run to the exfil phone booth and hold interact. I know it's kind of scary, but you are not exfilling from the game. Go ahead and kill the HVT as you would and interact with the phone booth once again, and you will be teleported back into the house. Once you're at the house, a bunch of Ravagers and Doppelgasts are going to spawn in, and your goal is to charge up a shot from the wonder weapon into this barrier. If done successfully, just outside that barrier on the floor, you will see the Eye of the Forge. You may then return back to the main map, and you are going to go to any grapple location, although I would strongly suggest you choose this one, and you can upgrade your grapple hook. So what are you supposed to be doing while you're letting all of these rounds pass? Well, that would be gaining the corruptions of the 4 Shadow Smiths. The first one is the Shimmering Thread for Caltheris, which is simply just to be using your grappling hook on all these purple orbs that you're seeing around the map and interacting with them. You'll get grenades, you'll get salvage, but what you're really looking for is the Shimmering Thread. It's completely RNG based, so good luck. Next up is the Ancient Scroll for Nyxara, which requires you to put the Shadow Rift ammo mod on your weapon, go back to the Astral Plane Forest, and get as many kills as you can with Shadow Rift. Eventually you will hear an activation sound and you'll be able to find the Ancient Scroll on the ground. The third is Dravakar's Hammer, which requires you to put the Shatter Blast ammo mod on your weapon, and you'll go back up to the anvil where you first got the Wonder Weapon. Your goal is to get Shatter Blast kills near the shields you see around the room. The shields will eventually fall to the ground, revealing loot behind them, and if you're lucky, you will find Dravakar's Hammer. In Vaetherian's Temple, you'll need to collect 4 elemental boxes. The first is just past the entrance here on the right. If you double jump and hold interact, you can grab the first one, and you'll go ahead and bring it over to this room to stash for later. And you can find the second one just across from this room on the right next to the barrier, and go ahead and plop that down at our stash as well. The third one is in the same room as the previous one on the left. If you jump up and then do another double jump and hold interact, bring it back to the stash. And the fourth one is actually right where we've been collecting them. You'll then want to strategically place the elemental boxes in this order you see here. There are other configurations of this order that do work, but for what we're doing, this is what I go with. From bottom to top, it is fire, hand, leaf, and water. You'll start by placing the fire and then the hand boxes in the mover here, and you'll shoot the spot on the wall. This is how you get the mover to actually move. From here, you can go ahead and move the fire block to the right. Go ahead and shoot the wall to move it back, and then you're going to want to grab the water block and place it in the mover. Go ahead and move back to the right, and you're going to want to move the boxes like so. Move the hand block to the right, move the water block to the right, move the fire block back to the mover, and move the hand block back to the mover. And shoot the wall to move back to the left side. In this order again, you'll want to move the hand to the left side, then the fire to the left side, move the leaf to the mover, and move the hand to the mover. Go ahead and move those to the right and place the leaf on the right hand side. Send the mover to the left side and grab the fire block. And finally, you'll want to send the mover to the right side, move the hand block to the right, and the fire block to the right. Once you've done this process, the wall will open up, granting you a free perk, and you can interact with the blue portal. This portal is used to make the map rainy in the next 1 or 2 rounds, which is essential for some upcoming steps. And for Vaetherian's Corruption, you want to make sure this is on a round where it is raining. Obviously, using the blue portal from the puzzle before is a huge help for this. And what you're going to want to do is use your grapple hook on one of 2 locations around the map. Just do as I do here, and as long as it's raining and you're mashing interact, one of these 2 locations should grant you Vaetherian's Corruption. Once you have all 4 of the corruptions, what you're going to want to do now is go to both of the Titan traps outside of the Caltheris and Vaetherian temples. Go ahead and activate them, and keep in the back of your head or on a piece of paper the symbols that are on each of the hands of both of the Titans. There are 4 symbols in total, and you'll need to keep track of which symbol belongs to which hand on which Titan. You will then be using the upgraded grapple hook to pull off these plates with eye symbols on them. 12 of them are on the bottom floor of the forge along these walls, and 3 of them are along each of these 3 pieces of machinery on the upper side of the forge. Once you've yoinked all those off, go ahead and go back to the bottom of the forge and you'll see all this spider webbing. I personally used the flames on the upper side of the forge to get rid of these, but some say that you can use Molotovs or even the charged shot from the Wonder Weapon. Once you've cleared the webbing out of the bottom floor of the forge, you're going to want to go back up and turn one of the cranks attached to the forge. After doing so, rush back down to the underside and activate this lever. And if you return back up top, you'll notice that 3 circles around the forge are starting to spin. Your goal at this point is to align all 3 of the circles with any of the Shadowsmith temples. Now this is quite a complicated step, so what I'm going to do is put on screen and link in the description Margwen Network solver for this step. All you have to do is input the rotation that the circles are already turning in, the Shadowsmith temple that each of the 3 circles are pointed at, and finally your target, aka where you would like to go next. Once you've done so, a laser will point into the head of the Shadowsmith temple. Once you've done this, bring the corresponding corruption into the fireplace of the Shadowsmith temple, and you are going to have to activate the purple fire again by grappling the purple orbs into the center and turning one of the cranks. Once you've done this, go ahead and activate the purple fire and run to the fireplace that you just put the corruption in. And if the fireplace is lit, go ahead and bring a zombie nearby and it will light that zombie both on fire, and you'll notice some symbols starting to surround it. Keep a very close eye on those symbols, or even pause your game if you have to, because those symbols are the ones that correspond to the shackles on the Titan traps. What you have to do now is bring that symbol zombie to the Titan and have it be smashed by the specific arm that corresponds with the symbol. If you've done this correctly, you will get a success quote, and you'll notice that the shackle on the arm that just smashed the symbol zombie is now broken. Before starting the next step, go ahead and interact with the blue portal in the Vaetherion room. This will cause rain to spawn in the next 1 or 2 rounds, and you will need that for an upcoming step. Once you've destroyed the symbol zombie associated with Dravikar's temple with the Titan arm, you need to go into Dravikar's temple and you will see a stone square on the floor at the entrance. Your goal is to lift this square and reveal a mirror underneath. The way to lift the square is different for every Shadowsmith, so let me walk you through how to do Dravikar's. The way it worked for me is I interacted with the slab, I went completely prone, and I got kills with the wonder weapon near the slab. And if you do this for long enough, you will notice that the slab does lift, revealing the mirror underneath, which you then need to use a charged wonder weapon shot on. The laser will now go through the mirror, and your goal is to point that mirror in a specific direction in the room. For Dravikar, your goal is to point the mirror at this specific spot. To point the mirror, you simply shoot it, and it is very dependent on where you shoot the mirror as to how quickly or how slowly the mirror will change positions. Once you've successfully aligned the mirror onto this location, you then want to treat it as a soul box and get kills nearby. If it's pointed at the right spot and you're getting kills, you'll notice some cracking starting to happen, and eventually it will reveal a head. With the head revealed, go ahead and shoot at it, and very quickly you'll be locked out as 4 shadow souls will spawn around the room. This will create a lockdown in which you need to survive and destroy all 4 of the Shadow Souls before you're able to finish off the face again. Once you've successfully done so, your goal is to now grab one of the purple orbs outside of Dravikar's temple, bring it underneath the laser beam, and use a charged wonder weapon shot so that it floats up into the beam and onto the forehead of Dravikar. And to finish it off, you have to make sure that it is raining at this point, and your goal is to grab one of the purple astral flames and shoot it at the orb on Dravikar's forehead. It may take a couple of tries, but once done successfully, you'll notice that Dravikar's monstrous form reverts back to its original form. And if you couldn't guess already, you will have to do this 3 more times with the other 3 Shadowsmith temples and the other 3 Titan Trap arms. For the Caltheris slab, after you interact with it, your goal is to aim your weapon at this mystery box location for about 60 seconds, give or take. I would definitely go into this with full plates and maybe even a few decoys just to get the final zombie off your tail for long enough to move the slab. And here is where you want to place the mirror for this temple. For the plate in Nyxara's temple, your goal after interacting with it is to lay completely prone for about 60 seconds, and I would give you the same advice as Caltheris, definitely bring full armor plates and maybe some decoys. And here is where you want to place the mirror for this temple. And for Vaetherion's plate, your goal is to just jump up and down for as long as you can. It really doesn't take that long, and the plate will eventually lift. And here is where you want to place the mirror for this temple. With all 4 temples cleansed, your final goal is to prepare for the boss fight. Make sure you have every single perk and maybe even some Eternals. Have all of your weapons triple packed and max rarity. Bring in any gobblegums you think might be helpful, and I would definitely advise bringing in about 100k points at least. You're going to want to use the wonder weapon here, and the ammo economy on it is actually god-awful. Starting with phase 1, movement is really the only name of the game here. Lay down wonder weapon shots, avoid as many of the warden's attacks as you can, and every so often as well, I would kill some zombies just to keep armor flowing in. Before phase 2 starts, you have to kill some Shadow Souls just sprinkled around the map. Once that's over though, phase 2 fully begins, and the main threat here are the stingers that pop up around the map. Obviously do your best here to avoid running into those, and watch out too for the overhead portals that the boss will start throwing at you. At the end of phase 2 though, you'll be teleported into a very tight prison cell, and all sorts of enemies will start spawning in, and your goal is to survive and defeat the special enemy before time runs out, which will grant you an overheal. Once that's over, phase 3 begins, and once again Shadow Souls will spawn in, and the boss will turn entirely purple, and you have to kill the Shadow Souls before you're able to damage the boss really at all. And if you let those and the stingers stay too long, eventually they'll all huddle up in the center and do a wipe attack on you. So prioritize those, keep using the wonder weapons, and avoid as much damage as possible. And if you've done all of this successfully, then congratulations, you have completed the Rex Infernus Easter egg. Thank you so much for watching, and if at any point you found yourself enjoying this video, a like, comment, subscribe are always appreciated. But I've been AQDevi, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.